p.m. I will call the City of Allegan City Council meeting for June 22nd, 2026 to order. Could I please have roll call?
Councilmember Clark,
Present.
Councilmember Westover,
Present.
Councilmember Walker,
Here.
Councilmember Canales, Councilmember Hooker,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Hands,
Present.
Mayor Perigo,
I am here.
and we did receive a text message later this afternoon from Councilmember Canales letting us know that he will not be able to make tonight's meeting.
Could I have a motion to excuse his absence?
Motion to excuse Mr. Canales.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 3, if you are able to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please do so. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda item 4A is approval of the regular council meeting agenda for June 22nd, 2026. Could I have a motion to approve?
I make motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving down to 5A is approval of the regular council meeting minutes from June 8th, 2026. I do not know of any corrections. Were there any corrections? All right, can I get a motion to approve as is?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from June 8, 2026.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving down to the next agenda item is 8A, a request to hold a first reading of Ordinance 538 and schedule a public hearing for July 13th, 2026, to amend Sections 14.2 and 14.3 of the City Code of Ordinances and repeal Section 14.10 to correct an inadvertent omission in the city's regulation of marijuana and to remove transitionary provisions that are no longer needed.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a friendly reminder for the council that all ordinance approvals is a two-step process at the City of Allegan. Tonight, you're just holding a first reading, and then you will be making a motion to set the public hearing for July 13th. This first ordinance, 538, deals with chapter or section 14-2, 14-3, and 1410 of our City Code of Ordinances, which really addresses the regulatory environment around marijuana sales in the City of Allegan. 14-2 adds that temporary marijuana events are allowed in the City of Allegan since City Council amended the zoning ordinance to allow them last year. We've realized we should probably go back and correct this, which is outside our zoning ordinance. 14-3 removes any language referring to an initial receipt period in the lottery process. And then 14-10 removes the prohibition of temporary marijuana events. The way these came to fruition or was brought to staff's attention is Green Door was a provisioning center located over on Lynn Street. They closed their doors down earlier this year. New entity is looking to buy that building and would like to open up a provisioning center there. They inquired with the city about the approval process, so we went to the regulatory section of our Code of Ordinances, and we realized it still had the old language for the lottery process that was set up when we first started this process several years ago. But since we no longer, since we already have approved provisioning centers in the City of Allegan, we no longer have to go through a lottery process. Now it's just first come, first serve, and as long as you meet the separation requirements of 1,000 feet from a school and 1,000 feet from another center, then you're allowed to, get the application process started with the city clerk. So when we realized that, we felt the need to make these changes. We worked with the city attorney to make sure we were dotting all of our i's and crossing all of our t's in this, and the ordinance language you see is the ordinance he put together. Any questions for staff? Okay, again, tonight's just the first reading, and your motion would be to accept it for first reading and schedule that public hearing for July 13th.
There were no questions of staff? All right.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we schedule a public hearing for ordinance 538 on July 13th, 2026.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any other comments from council on this motion? Seeing none. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 8B is a request to hold a first reading of ordinance 539 and schedule a public hearing for July 13th, 2026 to amend sections 31-486 of the City Code of Ordinances.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to request to be excused for this item as to avoid any potential conflict of interest.
Thank you. Could I get a motion to excuse Councilperson Westover?
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Any more flip-flops? That's funny. All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Section 31-486 is in our zoning ordinance. This regulates the placement of recreational vehicles on private property. The Planning Commission heard a request from a local business owner to allow up to 3 recreational vehicles to be parked for up to 72 hours on private property in the central business district with certain regulations. These regulations would include RVs must be parked on hard surfaces. They must be no closer than 5 feet from any property line, and they must have at least 10 feet between each RV. It says property on the screen, but it's RV. There are no outdoor fires or grilling that is permitted. All gray and black water shall remain in the RV, and no drains are permitted, and all properties must be registered with the city on an annual basis. This is to encourage more visitors to downtown Allegan. There is a couple apps, by apps I mean apps that you have on your phone, that allow people to reserve these places. They jump in their RV or their van and they hit a handful of wineries. It's kind of like a vacationing process. And this local company downtown is interested in joining that kind of program. Our research shows minimal impact, negative impact, and a lot of positive impacts because it's bringing visitors. And since downtown Allegan currently doesn't have any lodging opportunities, we see this as a potential plus for the downtown. The Planning Commission held a public hearing at their June 15th meeting. One person spoke in favor of it. Nobody spoke against it. And the city council, or the planning commission, unanimously recommends that city council adopt this ordinance. And again, with all city ordinances, it's a two-step process. Tonight, you're just holding the first reading and scheduling that public hearing for July 13th. Any questions for staff about this ordinance?
We have a couple.
Sure.
Let's see, under section C1, it talks about 3 spaces. Is that total spaces or per property? Because it reads like it's total spaces in the CBD. Up to 3 spaces created for the purpose of overnight parking and occupation of recreational vehicles on private property shall be permitted within the central business district, subject to the following conditions. That sounds like 3 total spaces in the CBD.
Yep, as with the zoning ordinance, the interpretation is up to the zoning administrator. Between now and July 13th, we can go ahead and correct that so it's per parcel and not total 3 throughout, because I believe the intent of the planning
Clear.
commission, yeah. So that's a change we can make.
And then the other one that I have on this is it creates that the CBD, the central business district, is in essence allowed to do something that in the neighborhoods can't. If you're reading section A and B versus section C, under A and B, you can't even use your own recreational vehicle on your own property inside the city.
Correct. Or you can't use it to
live
camp
in,
on
to
your,
camp,
to live
yeah.
in, correct.
So it's creating a special privilege in the CBD, so I'm a little unsure on that. But I just
And
wanted,
I could appreciate that. The zoning ordinances and zoning districts have that throughout the entirety of all uses. I live in a residentially zoned district. I cannot open up a machine shop. But if I was in the industrial district, I could open up a machine shop. We have those kind of separation of uses for a reason.
And the other one was, is there any fines for any of the things that are prohibited? I don't see any listing that these are a fine under such and such provision for outdoor fires, grills.
So when we rewrote the entirety of the ordinances, I think it was 2 years ago, we added that whole fine.
But there's no saying that this would be a finable under our provisions. It doesn't address it one way or another, whether it's finable. It just says it's prohibited.
Yeah, so if you do a action that's prohibited in your code of ordinances, then it's a finable offense throughout the entirety of the ordinance.
Anything else? Because I have some.
Hey, go ahead.
Okay, well, and I would have asked this question previously, but the way you worded it tonight, you talked about bringing more visitors to town. However, these can't be used, because on section B, they can't hook up to electricity, they can't hook up to water, they can't have their slides out, they can't be used except to have their slides out for cleaning and no more than 24 hours. If they can't use the RV to stay in, how is it bringing visitors in?
So section B, recreational vehicles such as campers, boats, or similar items shall be permitted on a residential property. Section C talks about commercial RV, so they're two separate sections. So section C allows for, you can use it the way you just stated it.
Okay. So B no, C yes.
And it says it's talking about the CBD, but section C just says commercial RV overnight parking.
Yeah.
I think it probably should be rewritten to be similar to B. Recreational vehicles such as campers, boat, or campers shall be permitted on commercial property in the CBD or whatever we define it as, subject to the following requirements.
So C1's.
Because it's not following the same setup as B. B saying residential vehicles such as campers on residential properties. But C just goes straight into commercial overnight RV parking, but it doesn't say the same as B, so I would.
That's why it didn't ring in my head that way because of the way it was worded.
Okay, so C1, it does say up to 3 spaces created for purpose of overnight parking and occupation
Yes.
of recreational vehicles on private property shall be permitted within the central business district, subject to the following conditions. And if I hear you correctly, you would just like to take C1 and merge that with just C.
No, just
the
C.
way it is in B.
Nah, well, it's kind of in there in B, but it just would have the title of recreational vehicles such as campers, boats, or similar items shall be permitted on commercial.
I
Property.
would offer that the,
You can leave one alone. One is setting the conditions. It's up to 3 spots.
well,
B is just saying where we're talking about and what we're talking about. And right there, in C, it only has commercial RV overnight parking. It doesn't, like, what does that mean exactly? It doesn't say,
so I'll push back a little bit. One is not just setting the number of spots, one is also setting
Well,
the
it's-
zoning district.
one could just set the number of spots, but you're saying I'm merged.
What
Right.
kind of vehicles?
If I
Is that
can
what we're saying?
interject,
Like,
since I sit on planning's view on this, and with having one of the business owners in the central business district, it's strictly for the central business district is how this was written. It's not getting into neighborhoods or anything like that. And it is truly, and Tanya, I don't know if you planned on talking tonight and would want to talk about this. As Joel had mentioned, there's a couple of apps out there, and it is a thing that people do. They download these apps and they go on a 2-week trek and they map out what wineries or breweries they're going to go to, and they just stay a night. And for this, we limited it to 72 hours because we don't want people camping. This is just a safe place for people to park after they have enjoyed the local food, the local drink. They park, they have a safe place to sleep, and they move on the next day. It's not meant to do grilling and get out your awning and so on, like a campground is. We're not creating a campground, is how planning viewed this.
How they view it. I'm just saying like C and C1 just need a little bit of rewriting to make it clear. It's for the CBD, the Central Business District. And it's, one could just be that we're designating up to 3 spots. And then I would also probably put in there to just make it clear that public parking lots are still not considered part of this.
Well, it's not a personal property.
Well, it's, make sure we
Yeah.
still have that in the rules that you can't in the parking lots. Or also, if you're saying that they're not supposed to be able to put out their awnings, actually put it in here because it doesn't have that as a prohibited, it just says outdoor fires, grilling, or other activities,
So if they're not in the public parking lots, where exactly?
It's on the designated spot that they have to buy a permit
A
for.
property, a private property owner in the central business district.
You have a handful of private properties in
Owners
your
that
central business district
this
that have
could
enough
fit.
land
Okay.
to do this.
And then does the business pay the fee, the
Yeah.
permit?
It would be an
And then
annual
so that
permit.
the campers don't
Just
have to pay
correct.
people?
No, this is not a city-run program.
And this is not something, from what I understand, that the apps that are out there, they're not charging for these stays. It's just a map that says, here's a safe place to stop after you've enjoyed food and drink versus driving. So,
Actually, that makes me less likely to want to support this.
And
though it's bringing business to town.
Yeah, I'm not very keen of it. This is a free spot to park in, and it just doesn't,
Why do you think it
Well,
doesn't
we're-
bring anything to the community?
it would be the same as, why can't I just have it in the neighborhoods? Why can't your personal, at your house, have a camper parked on it and use it for its intended purpose?
So my recommendation then
We can get-
of that concern is that the city council as a whole could direct the planning commission to look at that ordinance as well if you'd like.
Oh, I'm
But
not, I'm
we-
not suggesting that I want to look at that ordinance. I'm saying
Okay.
we've already have eliminated it there, and the CBD was always also eliminated as well. And this is making that change, which is fine if we want to make the change. I'm just a little weary of it. Because we're,
one thing I'd like to also address, you say in C, section C, 2C, no RV may be parked upon the same location for the period of more than 72 hours. Is location the spot one of 3, and they can move to a third one on that same property? Or is location 2 separate properties? Because that's not clearly defined, because if you park on a street and your cop's gonna come along and is gonna chalk your tire just to see if you move it, well, it's the same principle. You can move from, on one property, you can move from space 1 to space 3 and be there for 6 days.
So Charles, I would say that the planning commission's intent and the zoning administrator would interpret this way, that it was at that property. So if I own 123 Main Street and
Yeah.
I apply for an annual permit to have 3 spaces, and as you can see in section 4, records retention, that is only going to be located at that property.
And that was
And-
planning's question as well, and it's only that property. It's not, they have 3 spots and they can move from spot 1 to spot 2 to spot 3. No, it's that property address.
I would just add the language, the same property location then, because you need to clearly define location as too general of a term, I believe, and when it comes to spaces.
I would rather have this council redirect this back to planning commission than, I mean, we don't.
You're not approving it tonight. Tonight's just the
Right.
first reading.
But can it go, do we have time before that second reading for planning?
I hear what you're saying. I think we have enough information from the city council. And I would remind city council, please hop on the MML website, sit through a couple planning webinars, zoning webinars. The way this is written is to allow flexibility for interpretation. Okay?
it allows,
Your zoning should have some flexibility for interpretation. Regarding the chalking tires, That's illegal according to the United States Supreme Court.
Right.
Because it's search and seizure. You can't do that anymore. They used to do that back in the 80s and 90s.
Using it as an example.
Yeah.
I think that's actually only in our district. That's never gone to the Supreme Court.
Oh, okay, our local district courts here. But I think we can address these, and if, after the second reading, if you would not like to, if you don't think there's enough information to pass this ordinance at your second reading, then we can send it back to the planning commission.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, I was just looking for adjustments in there just to make some stuff clear. Clarity in ordinances and clarity in zoning always is helpful.
All right, can I get a motion to schedule a public hearing, second reading and public hearing for July 13th, 2026?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Can I have a motion to please accept Councilperson Westover back?
I'll make that motion to accept Councilmember Westover back.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mhm. Where is-
I'm gonna start bringing my own pen. This pen doesn't work.
All right, welcome back. Moving to agenda item 8C is a request to hold a first reading of ordinance 540 and schedule a public hearing for July 13th to amend sections 20-2, Planning Commission composition to provide for a 7-member City of Allegan Planning Commission.
Okay, very quickly, again, you have, your ordinances require a two-step process. Tonight is just the first reading and scheduling the public hearing. Currently, section 20-2 of the City Code of Ordinances allows for a 9-member City of Allegan Planning Commission. We currently have 7 members. The Planning Commission is requesting that that ordinance be changed to have it at 7 instead of 9. For the past several months, we've had difficulty filling the full membership of the Planning Commission. And at the same time, the city council only has 7 members, so the planning commission felt that a 7-member planning commission is an appropriate sized planning commission for a town of this size.
Anyone have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm just curious, were there any comments for a 9-member? Were there any reasons? for-
None. No one on the planning commission argued for 9. They voted unanimously to have it at 7.
Is there any reason why we wouldn't go to 9?
As a city council,
Yeah.
you'd have to get the voters of the city of Allegan to approve, to vote a different charter.
Any advantages? No. Okay.
That's not something that the city council could just decide tomorrow. It would have to be a voter approved. You'd have to create a charter commission, rewrite the entire charter, and then have the voters vote on it like they did in 1988, the last time the charter was amended. It was 88, right, Tracy? Yeah, 88.
And will, our Councilmember Walker, I think also, like, as long as there's an odd number, so there's not a tie vote, is the most important thing. But also, like, the 2 appointed positions, like the mayor sits on it, and then there's somebody appointed from council, but the rest is kind of ad hoc or whatever. So I don't think that there's like, it matters if there's 5, 7, or 9, or 11, or. You want 11?
It would be very tight around this DS if there's 11 for a planning commission meeting. 9's very tight as well.
Yeah, the mayor gets 1 member without needing a vote, and the rest are all by council's approval.
Anything else from council? Nope. All right, can I get a motion to schedule a public hearing for July 13th, 2026, to amend sections 20-2?
I'll make a motion to schedule the public hearing on July 13th to amend sections 2002.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving down to agenda item number 10 is the first public comment period of the evening. If you have a public comment, please approach the podium and state your name and address. And we do have a limit of 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City staff. My name is Charles Vanderhill. Although I'm not a City of Allegan resident, I do own 2 rental properties in Allegan, 417 Davis and 248 Thomas. Therefore, I'm a stakeholder and a taxpayer here. I'm here tonight to respectfully highlight concerns about the enforcement of our city's fence and zoning ordinance and the burden this places on property owners. Recently, a professional survey of one of my properties revealed that the neighboring fence encroached 24 inches onto my land. A FOIA request confirmed that no zoning application was ever submitted. As required by city ordinance, PCI has been involved. Because the city ordinance is not being actively enforced, I was forced to hire a licensed surveyor at my own expense to protect my property rights. This cost me significant time and money that otherwise I wouldn't have to spend. I understand that code enforcement resources are limited, but the property owner must bear full financial and logistical burden of proving violations that the city is responsible for overseeing. Create an unfair situation. Landlords and investors should not have to act as private investigators to pay for professional surveys simply because permit requirements were not consistently followed or verified. I am currently working with the neighbor on an agreement to locate the fence by September 15, 2026, and to bring the structure within compliance. However, the experience shows me that stronger, more proactive enforcement of fence permit requirements would prevent similar disputes and protect all Allegan property owners. I respectfully ask the council and the city staff to review the current enforcement procedures for zoning permits, particularly for fences and accessory structures, and consider steps to improve compliance monitoring and timely response to report violations. Thank you for your time and service to our community. I'm happy to provide additional details and documentations if helpful. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Matt Antkowiak, and I used to be a resident of the city here for about 2 decades, and I've recently moved out of town, but I work across the street at the county building. I'd like to thank you for your time. I'm here today to comment in support of Judge Burnett, Chris, my friend. Many of you might know him. I grew up with him and his family. His older sister was in my graduating class, and probably more particular, we worked together as public defenders for about 20 years in the county building. And he's up for election this year. He was appointed by the governor to take the district court position. And in the time that I've had the privilege of knowing him, Chris has always been a hard worker. He's been fair. He's been honest in dealing with different parties in the criminal justice system. He is a person that will listen to you, and he will give you your time in court in which to present your case. I think it's important to note that Chris has 20 years of experience, not only as a practicing attorney, but his father as well in a family law firm. I can relate to that. My dad came here to Allegan in 1971. And I think Christopher's dad, Jim Burnett, came maybe 3 years later. And so he had the privilege, as did I, of working with my family in a law practice. And I think that that's something that really was the highlight of my career, and perhaps the same for Judge Burnett as well. But knowing Chris and working with him in the criminal justice system, he's a hard worker. He not only works hard, but he observes, and he's seen what's happened in our system for 20 years. He's continued those programs, and I think that he will continue to be an excellent district court judge. One last thing I want to mention. A lot of times growing up, people were eager to get out of town. And what I mean by that is I graduated in 1991 And I wanted to get off and explore the world, and I had a chance to do that. But there was a draw back home, and it has been a wonderful investment to return to my home community and to be able to involve myself in local matters. Much like Chris, who was on the ZBA back in the early 2000s, I was on the Planning Commission and the Parks Commission for about 10 years, local government, and then the kids started coming, so I took a break. I hope someday to return. But Chris decided to come back to our community and invest, and I think that's an important message to send to people that are upcoming and that are growing and want to return and live in this community, having grown up here. Thank you very much for your time.
Good evening. My name is Chris Burnett. I am a resident of the city. And as Judge Jankowiak said, I will be on the ballot in November. I've been here, I've talked to you all before. What's new in district court is that we are a court of numbers. We are like the siphon that everything goes into and then a smaller amount comes out. And so this year, I'm in my 11th month of being on the bench and soon to be my 12th month come July. This year, I think we're on track to have about 20,000 cases before district court. And we're able to handle that volume by being prepared, knowing the law, and having a great staff in place. Just like all of you, you're prepared when you come to these meetings. It's very important to do that for our roles as judges as well. And I take that very seriously. I will look over at the Tantric Brewing on Sunday afternoons while I'm up in my office preparing files, and I'll see people that are out there having fun. And you know what? That's wonderful. And after I get through my work, maybe I'll be over there. But I have to put in the work in order to make things work efficiently. This past Tuesday, I had 74 hearings alone. And it's a lot of volume, but if you're prepared, you can get through it appropriately. There will be a unveiling of a piece of art that the students from the VOTEC prepared, and it's going to be installed in the county building on Friday. I'll be doing an introduction to the piece. If anybody's available to come to that, you're more than welcome, and I'd like to see you there. It's Friday at noon. So I think that's about the new updates from district court. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I appreciate your time, and I don't want to take up any more time. I know you have a busy evening. Thank you.
Is there any other comments at this time? Okay. Right here. All right, seeing no other public comments, I will move down to 12A, which is a request from Wings of Hope to place butterflies on the riverfront from September 11th, 2026 to September 15th, 2026.
Thank you, Mayor. Preston, I believe you're in the audience, correct? Yep. Oh, you're not? Oh, you're for the other one, I apologize.
All right, yeah, I don't think there's.
All right, so this is an annual request that we have from Wings of Hope. Wings of Hope, each year request to place butterflies in memory or in honor of loved ones that have passed away. They place them down on the riverfront fence on the boardwalk. This year, they're asking to have them go up on the morning of Friday, September 11th, and then they will remove them the morning of Tuesday, September 15th.
Can I get a motion?
I'll put a motion to approve this.
Support.
So moved and supported. Anyone have any questions?
No questions. I just appreciative that they sent this in so early. So,
All right, anything else from council? No. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12B is a request to adopt Resolution 26.20 recognizing the Allegan County Legal Assistance Center as a nonprofit operating in the City of Allegan and be approved for the consideration of a charitable gaming license.
All right, I got ahead of myself. Now we're going to invite Preston up to the podium.
All right, good evening, Mayor and council members and staff. My name is Preston Pietzak. I'm a member of the Board of Directors of the Allegan County Legal Assistance Center, and we are seeking recognition as a nonprofit operating in the City of Allegan for the purposes of obtaining the gaming license. We are having our annual fundraiser in September on the 17th. We're hoping to conduct a raffle at that fundraiser to help gain money for the center. In order to do that, we were required to file this petition with you. I believe Mr. Dye has a copy of that he sent out to you all. I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there any questions, comments from council? No?
They're usually pretty straightforward on these.
All right, do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 26.20.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further comments from council? No? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving down to 13A1 is a review of the June 2026 Downtown Development Authority meeting minutes and Assistant City Manager Johnson.
Yes, we met, we reviewed the current status of the Downtown Allegan Improvement Project, Phase 2, went over the retail market analysis and the recent visit by Bob Gibbs of Gibbs Planning Group. We also discussed the Wayfinding Signage Plan. We have a subcommittee of the DDA that had met, and they proposed their suggestions. You'll see that later on in your agenda for some purchase orders. And we also discussed the downtown crosswalk signs that have been eliminated over the course of several months, some of them intentionally, and the plan to replace those and get some safe crosswalks back in the downtown. And then lastly, we had gone ahead and did a promotional flyer for what we dubbed Antique Sundays in downtown Allegan. I think I mentioned it a couple of meetings ago here. All but 2 of our downtown restaurants are open every Sunday, and we have 10 retailers that are open on the last Sunday of every month when the antiques market takes place at the Allegan County Fairgrounds. So we just reviewed the flyer that had come in print and had been distributed in time for the May show. So.
All right, anyone have any questions for Parker?
The sidewalk crossings, was there any mention of just painting them on the road instead of actually doing it? Is that one of the options that we're looking at, or?
Yes, we did discuss that with DPW staff, and we ended up going with what we had prior. We'll see how that works. The plan is to...
Whacking down?
What's that?
The ones that we keep whacking down?
Well, they're going to be removed in the wintertime, which they weren't this past winter, which is when a handful of them came out. And then 2 were just eliminated overnight a handful of weeks ago on the same night. So I believe that to be intentional. I don't know if
No,
it
there's
is or not.
intentional, but it's also, there is certain truck routes like Hubbard truck route, and trucks making turns can't make them with those signs in place. So trucks turning from Hubbard onto Water would have a very difficult time making that turn with those signs in place.
Yes, so they are not planning to go back in the original locations. There were a few of them that we've determined aren't in a good spot. Where you reference from Hubbard to Water is one of them, and from State to Water is another one that will not go back.
I would look forward to something a little bit different, because, yeah, those just get whacked, and they're putting holes in the pavement that I'm concerned are just gonna blow out in the future, so.
Sure.
I'm happy that you guys are looking more into it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else for Parker? No. All right, 13A2 is a review of the June 2026 Public Spaces Commission minutes, and Councilmember Clark.
Yes, well, we met and they were discussing the airport fly-in that they had on 6/20, the breakfast and lunch. Regarding the Oakwood Cemetery, they said that the history tour was well-received. They had a higher attendance on Friday than Saturday, but it was a good turnout. And then they started the cleanup as well, and that was well-received, and they did mostly around the cast iron fountain. A lot of the trees that they were discussing most of the felled ones were mostly on private property, so there wasn't a lot of discussion there. But they do want to plant some trees around the western entrance of the cemetery to soften it and kind of provide some shade. And we kind of reviewed some photos on that area. And then there was also discussion of the Griswold and the new signage that's going in there, and that's quite exciting. And talked about a lot of the consumer energy projects around the area have been completed already. So that's about it.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilmember Clark? No. All right, 13A3 is a review of the June 2026 Planning Commission meeting minutes, and Councilmember Westover.
Thank you, Mayor. The meeting met, we discussed changes to the recreational and commercial vehicles and overnight parking in downtown in the central business district. We also discussed changing the planning commission number from 9 to 7.
That was pretty much it. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, moving down to 13B1 is a discussion regarding the creation of a public safety committee.
Thank you, Mayor. I asked the police chief to be here this evening so he could answer any questions that may come up. This really is on the agenda as a discussion item for the city council. It was brought up at the end of the June 8th meeting of, what if there's a public safety committee that's created that serves as other city advisory committees serve. So, we have the Planning Commission, we have the Public Spaces Commission, we have the Airport Advisory Board, we have the Wellhead Protection Committee. Each of the departments kind of have their own little, advisory committee that, they staff and, it comes back up to the city council for issues that are within that arena. An idea for this is something like, where this committee talks about, police activity, fire activity, life EMS, code enforcement, traffic issues. You guys will regularly have someone come in to council and say, hey, I have an issue with traffic on my road. This would be a committee that you could refer those concerns to, let them respond. Once in a while, you guys create special committees to deal with site-specific issues or area issues, such as the rental inspection program that you guys were discussing earlier this year, or over the past year, it seems like. So this is just something I kind of wanted to have council discuss since it came up at the June 8th meeting, and not just let it linger out there, but kind of, see if there was a stomach for this or not.
I guess I would only ask the chief what he thinks, if it's a good thing,
That's what I was.
his personal opinion. Since we value it.
I don't have an opinion one way or the other. There could be good things coming from it, could be bad things that come from it. Any of the concerns that people have, I could provide you with stats on a number of things related to ordinances, calls that we take. Every night, every day, the officers do a daily briefing, a nightly briefing, so I see when I get up in the morning what happened at night. Those are things that I could periodically send to you or through Joel to you if you want. But if that's something that the council is interested in, I'm certainly not going to dissuade that. But for example, we had the gentleman that came talking about traffic on his road last week. We put up a traffic sign. Officer Morgan was able to give the city manager a weekly report of that. The speeds weren't anything that shook me. I mean, the 85th percentile was well within what it should have been. There were a couple highlighters, just like there are in just most of the streets that we go to do traffic enforcement. Traffic enforcement's kind of like hunting. Some days you get absolutely nothing, and some days you do. But I'm open to whatever. I know the mayor brought that up. I'm certainly fine with it, if that's something that you guys want to go forward with. But again, I don't have any strong feeling one way or the other about it.
All right, thank you.
And my thoughts on this was, what actually is their mandate? If we had a public safety committee, we'd have to come up with what their mandate is, like we have for all the others. Otherwise, right now, it's real open. It's like, what's this, and who would be on it? So first, I'd say we'd have to develop kind of a mandate if we wanted to move forward, what they're going to be looking at, what they're going to be reviewing, what what the kind of purview is, what the chief needs help with, or was it just a complaint area for citizens to come in and complain? Kind of thing. It's like, if they don't actually have a mandate, if it's not, they're making recommendations like the airport does, makes recommendations on the budget at the airport, is one of the things the airport advisory does, is we go through and look at the long-term planning. We look at the plans before they come in, before they come to the council to advise. It would be, is it doing that? So is it supplementing the chief, so the chief would be on it, or is it not? Because right now, the chief takes care of that, looking at his budget, developing his budget. But
I
so
think
does all the other
that's-
departments have the same responsibility. The only one that kind of doesn't is like parks. So the DPW has kind of that over them a little. The parks area, that they help develop some of the budget. They make recommendations, but they don't really have any real authority. The airport also makes recommendations on spending. But what would this committee do?
I'm thinking Joel was asking for, does council even have a desire to move forward with this where we would have to put all that in place? I don't think anybody has those
Yeah.
answers right now. And I think like you were referring to like Sherman Street of how do we get that is this advisory committee a way to get that information back to that neighborhood of what was done, what the officer saw? I don't know how we do that today.
Well, I know
You know?
Joel, the city manager reached back out to that individual with that report once he got it. So we do, as department heads, we do reach back out to folks.
Yeah, and we don't know that as council members,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
that was
just-
done.
Yeah, we follow up quickly with residents on issues. Sometimes the residents appreciate the answer. Sometimes they disagree with the answers that, we have. And, the mayor is correct, yeah. This isn't we don't know what that, Mayor Pro Tem, what you're speaking to of, the direction is the phrasing I would use, that you would give this committee. But there are times when you do have residents come in here, ask questions, and it needs more dialogue. There are times when residents, I think, feel like they aren't being really heard from council or from the city itself. And this is an opportunity for people to be, a little more engaged about the direction of their city, the direction of their neighborhoods. A comment that's been made, I go back 4 years ago, the whole block party push, which none of you, I think, Peter, you might have been on council, Tracy, you were.
I was.
And Tracy goes, I'm going to host a block party to show people how you can do this. And
We had a good block party.
it was a great turnout. The residents showed up. This is something where, this committee could be like, hey, we're gonna help, neighborhoods organize block parties. We're gonna help organize, neighborhood cleanups. There was reference about the cemetery cleanup. Every year, we organize a cleanup somewhere in the city. Last year, it was Rossman Park. We went out there on a Saturday morning and went to town picking up Rossman Park, and the neighbors came out with that. So it's just, is this an opportunity to engage the neighborhoods? Is it an opportunity to hold staff a little more accountable for code enforcement? Is long grass being enforced? I'm going to speak about the fence thing later on in the comments from the city manager. But it's those kind of opportunities as well, as, we look into those and what neighborhood issues may come up. And it might be a committee that meets, a quarterly or every other month. Or it might be a committee that meets monthly. So I just need to know from council, it was brought up as an idea. Nobody at the June 8th meeting said, oh, that's a horrible idea. So if it's a horrible idea, then let's just say it's a horrible idea, we can move on. But I didn't want this to just kind of linger out there and come up 3 or 4 months later down the road and say, hey, why didn't we ever talk about this more?
And I don't care either way. I just brought it up because there is, I think the neighborhood community thing that I feel we could get our hands around with the police department's help and the officers' help, with the public safety committee of people feeling safe in their neighborhoods.
And I was gonna basically say the same as what city manager Dye said, but I think we've heard loud and clear that people have concerns, and when we're sitting here in public comment and we're just staring at them, I think that it's really important for them to know we are hearing them and we want to do something, but as council during public comment, we're not supposed to engage. So I think it's great. More of an advisory type thing would be what I would see it as, but
I really like the communication aspect, so I would definitely agree with that. To aid in communicating back and forth. So, I don't know about the rest of it, but definitely that.
So for me, it's staffing. Is there enough people that would actually volunteer? Is it public? Is it, these are all the questions. Do we have a couple of, if there's enough interest in it, do we have a couple members of council get together with the city staff and the police and the fire and just kind of go over ideas on this and bring it back as a possibility? Because right now, it's so open. I'm like, I don't know what this is like. Is this addressing officer issues? Is this addressing public safety issues, fire EMS? Is it trying to do a committee where we have all three of those all come together once a quarter? Do they already kind of do that? Are we duplicating efforts? Are we really achieving much? That's something that we'd have to actually address.
That's where I was thinking, is how much would this be duplicated? But regarding code enforcement, if there's not if there's not a lot of vehicles to transmit that, to get results, maybe this could give the public confidence that they'd have those steps. So I kind of like the idea of creating something like this from that regard. Just gives more public confidence, and that's what we need to build.
I'm just thinking if there's much that could be done every month, and it's like,
It could be a once a quarter. That's
then
what the
it's-
wellhead committee is
I
once
know.
a quarter.
once a quarter, then you get the complaints from this city residents that you don't meet often enough.
Well,
So
then we would adjust. I
so
mean, you can't,
because something would come up like right after the quarter had happened, and you tell them, oh, you gotta wait another 3 months to go talk to somebody about this, becomes because we heard that also with like historic, because you'd get denied something and then you gotta wait a month, and that was one of the annoying things. So that's why it's like,
So
what's their mandate? What are they doing?
is there not interest then of even having a couple of council members sit down?
I'm fine with it. I'm thinking,
I think it's good. I mean, I like the idea of even just a liaison group that, between all the residents and all departments. Something to that effect. But that could open up a huge amount of things, but maybe it's needed.
At one time, we did, and maybe it still exists, the neighborhoods were put into groups. So even, I know you're like shuddering at me, Joel. I don't know.
Very shuddery because of my eyes, yes.
I'm just like, I don't know, I look at it more of that. You have liaisons from these neighborhoods, and that's how you build a community, a safe community, people talking, people watching out for each other of, hey, what's going on, and having that, I don't know. But I don't care either way, but. And I just feel our police are the ones out in the community, and they're the ones that, they know the community and are the eyes and ears and would be that staff.
And as I said, I can certainly provide you with, I heard grass. We've done 83 grass ordinances. We've cut 4 lawns that didn't do it. I can provide, I have all those numbers because Joel likes numbers. So I give him all that information. I can give you as much information to Joel, or as little. We have all our stats. We all have traffic stops, warnings, non-warnings, arrests. We have all that information. We keep track of it all. How many calls into the township? How many calls that we handle at schools? So there's more information sharing. Can do as much or as little of that as you want, and that seems to peak and valley kind of
Yeah,
though.
I bet.
would there be, I don't know if you do this, like, do you have like a social media platform that you can push it out to all the residents? Because we get it, or Joel gets it. I mean, and maybe that's what because people are saying like, oh, these ordinances aren't being enforced. We know that they are. We're seeing that stuff, but is the community seeing it? And that's where we were kind of going with, let's have a place for people to come so we can get that information out. I mean, it might be like here and we have 0 people or we have 5, but if we could get it out into the community more, maybe that will solve a lot of the things. Like we had, this many ordinance violations, but also how many fire calls, how many, EMS calls, all of these things that we consistently get asked questions about, like, that might just be the
And,
answer.
and, you know, Councilmember Hooker, I'm glad you picked up on that there. I mean, this wasn't just police activity. We take the word public safety and people focus right away that we're thinking, you know, the boys in blue. There's a reason why in my report, I identified all of the, what I consider public safety. I view code enforcement as being public safety. You know, Life EMS, it's amazing, the figures I see on how quick they respond. And we should be sharing that with the community, because that's a positive on why you should choose the city of Allegan over living out in the, you know, the sticks outside Allegan. Because if you have to call 911, the ambulance is there quick. And they're the ones that can transport you to the hospital to get you the, you know, the medical attention you need. And so that's where I kind of got it. And then my brain started, well, we need to talk about, you know, just neighborhood issues that might come up. We have, you know, an occasional party house that blips on our radar. And, you know, people need to be, you know, I think we need to be able to have those conversations publicly. So you can see all the work that the police department's doing, all the work that code enforcement is doing, all the work that the DPW is doing. We're getting a lot of pushback right now to build a park on the west side of town. And I'm like, money, budget, but, you know, this would be a committee that could listen to some of that stuff, you know, if it's a neighborhood issue, and then pass it on to public spaces as a park issue. So, again, I just want to know if council really wanted to have this conversation, or if you kind of wanted to say, it was a blip on the radar, we don't need to really worry about this one anymore.
I think enough has been discussed here to think that this warranted.
And I am happy to sit down with people to help go over it. I mean, to see if it is something that we need or what we could lay out. I don't know if anybody else is interested, but.
I would recommend that we have just 2 council members that sit down with city staff to kind of lay out what this framework could be. And I think that's what we're doing right now, is just what would this framework look like? And then the 2 council members can talk to their other council members and, you know, get input that way and bring it to the committee or the group.
Okay. Sounds like you got your 2 yeses here. To sit on that, was that a yes from you, Will?
Yeah,
Okay.
welcome to Charles.
Yeah, I'd be willing
Okay.
to.
All right, great.
So who are the 2?
I think it was myself and Councilmember Clark, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure Will wasn't in there somewhere, because I heard Will's voice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Backup.
I'll reach out, Jay and I will reach out to you too, and we'll have the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay, for coming in.
All right, moving down to 13D1 is a request to approve PO 27-0856 to Burnips Equipment Company in the amount of $26,899.46 to purchase a New Holland Workmaster 70 tractor.
Yeah, so this was on our CIP 10-year plan. Also in the upcoming fiscal year 27 budget that you guys approved already. So just getting all the purchases started for after July 1st to be able to order those. Any questions on the tractor and/or the upcoming equipment?
Was this the one that the township was contributing to?
Correct, yeah, the township
Wasn't in the
says,
memo, so that's why I'm
thank you for
checking.
remembering that.
So, okay.
But since the purchase order comes from the city of
Yeah, I
Allegan,
know,
this
I'm
is
just
the total
seeing-
amount.
Yeah.
What we'll show in the accounting is a revenue of $12,500 from Allegan
We
Township.
officially thank the township for that contribution yet? Does that, should go somewhere in our,
Once we receive that contribution, we will thank them.
just make sure, it's on our normal agenda now.
It is, but we have not received that check yet from them.
Jeff, that freight setup and delivery of 3,500.
Yes.
I'll do it for free.
We could, the freight part is the tractor coming from New Holland to Burnips, Michigan. The setup's going to be the extra remote hydraulics that we have on it.
Oh, gotcha.
And the sun top. But I can sure ask about the.
I don't know where New Holland.
Ask about the delivery, for sure.
Okay, I thought it was from Burnips.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
Is there any other questions for staff?
My only question is kind of for all of these, they're all replacing equipment. What are we doing with the old equipment?
The tractor will be, that'll be traded in. They gave us a fair amount, for that, and that's in, I think it was.
It's on the.
It's right here,
sales
trade
on the
in
screen.
value.
Yeah,
Right
that
on-
is.
there we go,
But
yeah.
on the others, on
Yep,
this,
yep.
we didn't have that.
The snow pusher that's coming up, we're gonna keep that and refabricate that, to put on another piece of equipment.
Jeff, do you mind, can we just do each
Right.
purchase order
Yeah.
Oh,
separately
sure.
for our
Yeah.
minutes?
Can I get a motion to approve PO 27-0856?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any other questions on this agenda item? All right, seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 13D2 is a request to approve PO 27-0857 to Weingartz Supply in the amount of $11,595 to purchase a 14-foot wide snow pusher.
Yes, this will be
This will be-
replacing a 2004 snow pusher that is, it's seen its life in its current state.
And it will be
Well used.
reinvented into another state.
It will be, yes. So we're make that smaller to fit on our backhoe, to get into parking lots downtown to where the 14-footer has troubles, especially with cars being parked. So yeah, that piece of equipment that we're replacing, we are gonna keep that one in-house.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve PO 27-0857?
You make motion.
Support.
And it's been moved and supported. Is there any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 11D3 is a request to approve PO 27-0858 to Spaulding Equipment in the amount of $32,170 to purchase a 4-ton asphalt hot patcher.
Yeah, and this one will also be replacing a 22-year-old hot patcher that we have now. Current one is 2-ton. This one is gonna be able to hold 4-ton. As you guys know from our Pacer ratings, and we can always use more asphalt out there on our roads. And this one was, the old one that was in the surplus list that you guys approved to be auctioned off.
Did it get auctioned off yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No, we
Not
still-
till
we're still using
the
it.
new one comes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. All right, can I get a motion to approve PO 27-0858?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any other questions before we vote? How long does it take to get this?
So the tractor will be around August. Snow pusher is in stock. Hot patcher is, well, I'll email them tomorrow. That'll be 3 to 5 weeks.
Okay,
So,
so we still will be able to use it this year?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, there's a motion on the table. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 11D4 is a request to approve PO 27-0859 to Steensma Lawn and Power Equipment in the amount of $21,174.12 to purchase a 12-foot bat wing mower.
Yeah, this mows the airport and the sports complex, soccer fields and outlying areas. Also, 10-year-old machines, gets used probably, I'd say 30 hours a week. So, it's time for replacement on that. that was also part of our CIP and also in the upcoming budget.
All right, can I get a motion to approve PO 27-0859?
So moved.
Any other questions?
Is the discount in there for trade-in?
No trade-in on that one, Peter.
I just seen the discount, I didn't know if that's.
Yeah, no, that will be also auctioned off.
All right, there is a motion on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 11D5 is a request to approve PO 27-0860 to Masonry Arts Company in the amount of $13,460 to refurbish the cemetery columns along Western Avenue at the Oakwood Cemetery.
Yep, so this will potentially be the same company that did Arbor Street entrance last year. Not as much time-consuming, I guess I'll say. They're a lot better shape, also newer than Arbor Street entrance was. So they did an outstanding job on Arbor Street entrance, and we hope you guys approve this PO to let them do as good a job on Western Avenue.
And is the plan that we're just eventually gonna, so that they're all pretty much the same age? Are we gonna just do all of them, or are these just the ones that are bad?
These are the two that the city owns. The ones off Sherman goes in the Blessed Sacrament, which is owned by the Catholic Diocese of Kalamazoo.
All right, can I get a motion to approve PO 27-0860?
I'll make a motion to approve PO 27-0860.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. 13E1 is a request to approve accounts payable and payroll, and Mayor Pro Tem Hans.
It is requested that the city council approve accounts payable in the amount of $598,304.46 and payroll in the amount of $122,501.52 for a total disbursement of $720,805.98. Motion to approve.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any questions of staff? No. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 11E2 is a review of the May 2026 Revenue and Expenditure Report.
This is a regular report. We share with you our revenue and expenditures for the preceding month. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to reach out to Tracy Stahl, our finance director, and she'll be able to answer them for you.
I don't see nothing from anyone. All right. We'll move down to 11E3 is a discussion regarding public opinion survey.
At your June 8th meeting, staff shared with you an idea of conducting a public opinion survey, utilizing a third party to do it. During that presentation, we shared with council that one community told us they spent $13,000. Council asked us to go out and get another quote. Polco, which is a national firm that many communities use in Michigan, submitted a quote for $15,500. Again, the action requested is just that you discuss this idea based off the comments made at the June 8th. Anything north of 10 is a non-starter, if I recall correctly, but I had to bring this back to you since you directed me to go get another estimate. So I just need direction from council on how you want me to move forward in regards to this public opinion survey, or idea of a public opinion survey.
Do you know how long ago Holland's was?
Just last year.
Because it just, to me, I was like shocked that a city the size of Holland was less than our little town. I mean, did they do the same number of, do you know, like the same, was it the same sampling or?
Probably the same, I don't know I do not know the sampling size, but running the information and the data and that kind of work is where the cost is. Developing the questions, the correct kind of questions, et cetera.
I personally don't think the scale or the price, like you just mentioned, I don't think it's worth it for what we're doing.
I'd agree with that.
I mean, I did have a few members of this community thought it was a really good idea, but, I mean, perhaps, like we said, if there's really major issues we want to learn about or know about, like, what are your top priorities, maybe we can just send it out, I don't know. Or like Mayor Perigo mentioned, like maybe have a volunteer outside of elections where people could grab a thing and vote or something.
Yeah,
Has Allegan done one of these before, the city?
Not to my knowledge, not since I've been here since 2017. So if it's been
Mostly
done.
we do is we send out surveys ourselves.
Yeah, so we have done like Survey Monkey for our Parks and Recreation survey or Google surveys. The difficulty with those, in my opinion, is A, they're not scientifically based, period. And you don't know if you're getting residents of the city to respond or someone who lives on Minor Lake to respond. So these would have been mailed directly to city residents. And I also would always just, when I look at other cities, I think you guys are probably one of the most transparent boards. Always open to people coming in. You have 2 public comment periods. Your emails are on the city website. If someone wants to bend your ear and tell you what for, they know how to find you. You don't hide from them.
Yeah, the only thing I like about this type of survey is it reaches out to those others that do not bend your ear.
Correct.
You know, there's
Right.
a lot of people who are silent and in the background and this type of survey, but I just think for the cost, and I don't really know what we're trying to learn from the survey. And what are the actions we're going to do from this survey? I would want to know those before I would want to
And for me,
approve this.
reaching out, I think we could reach out other ways with that $13,000 or $15,000 that's in here. Whether we do more Survey Monkeys and we sit down and develop some questions for things we want to know and send it out in our water bills and in our tax bills to try to get those people that don't respond to say, hey, we'd like your opinion on something. It's here, go take our survey. At least then you're more likely to get in-town responses than just putting it in the general, out on social media. And so I'd rather spend our money on that than a professional survey, especially if we don't have anything specific that we're trying to figure out or find out currently.
Would it eat up a lot of resources, though, to do that kind of survey, like a QR code and a water bill, and then have staff digest it?
I don't think we'll have that much resources to do something like that through our water bill. I get my water bill, electronically, and I just got, it comes in with an attachment, so those people can access it. If you get the paper one, you can pull that out, fill out a survey, and we say drop it off at City Hall, when they come in to pay their bill, that kind of a thing too. So I really don't think it'll take up a lot of resources, but, what I'm hearing is inconsistency on, maybe that's not the right term. We're not quite sure what we want to ask. And if you don't know what you want to ask, I wouldn't spend money. Putting a plan together with no vision is never a good idea.
Oh, I think we can come up with questions to ask. That's not the point. I think the point is we don't want to spend this much money on asking those questions.
All right, so we are not interested in a public opinion survey at the quote of $15,500. Is what I'm hearing.
Correct.
All right. Are we ready to move on, or anybody else have any other? No? 11E4 is a request to approve PO 27-0861 to SignArt Incorporated in the amount of $90,635 to manufacture and install a variety of vehicular and pedestrian wayfinding signs.
Yes, I will go ahead and take this one. So for the past several years now, the DDA and city staff have been working to develop a wayfinding signage program. This conversation predates the first streetscape project done in 2023. Last year, the DDA took the first step in this larger wayfinding signage program, just by kind of biting off one piece at a time, if you will. And we started with the public parking lot identifiers that went up last year. The DDA, and more specifically the subcommittee focused on wayfinding signage, decided to start with kind of the nucleus of the downtown and then grow out from there. The end product being gateway signage, identifying our city parks and our city facilities, but starting in the core of the downtown and growing out that way. So the next step now is these signs that you see on the screen. These include vehicular signs on the right and pedestrian signage on the left-hand side. These will not point to private businesses. These will direct to more institutional places, locations, things like you see on the screen, the Regent Theater, City Hall, our parks, and then larger, like I said, institutional, the fairgrounds, think the Allegan District Library. It won't be changed out when a business opens or closes. So yeah, these designs were reviewed a handful of years ago. These were done by Guide Studio. That was a part of a large process that had members of the Public Spaces Commission, the DDA, the City Council, public meetings, public input. So that all happened quite a while ago, and now we're at the stage where we're just needing to purchase, manufacture, and install these signs that have been debated for a long time now. And this is within the DDA's budget. They do have a set aside for wayfinding signage.
I know at one of our planning meetings, I had brought up that idea about signage, around at the entrances. Is this gonna answer that? And I know not for specific businesses, but like shopping, restaurants.
Yeah, so you'll kind of see on our next purchase order, we'll kind of get into that a little bit more specifically.
Thank you.
But this will identify things like you see on the screen, institutional, parks, even parking, directing them to that. And then once they arrive there, then they see those parking lot identifiers, so they know that's their destination.
I remember when the original design work was done, and that was done mostly on grants. And then when we came back and got numbers on it, at the city council at the time said, ain't gonna happen, because I think it was like $500,000 to $700,000. How much was the signs last year for the parking lots again?
25?
25?
Yeah.
I just don't see spending $90,000 on signs that point to where the fairground and the riverfront is a good use of city money when I have roads that need hot patch, when I have downtown roads that are being reconstructed, that $90,000 could go into.
Sure.
Personally.
Yeah, just to note also, this is DDA money that can't be spent outside of the DDA. Has to be expended within the boundaries.
Are these roads
the
inside the
DDA.
boundaries here?
One's currently under construction, yes.
Could the DDA money be spent to pay down our large loans we took out to put them in?
So the bonding, yeah, we did do that last year with the previous years with phase 1, phase 2.
That's what I remember, that's what I
Yep.
said. $90,000 to $100,000. When we're saying we don't have any money after this project to do with the neighborhoods, I'm buying a new hot patcher. I want pavement to go in said hot patcher to go out and pave these potholes and try to get us at least through that, and then come up with our plan, how we're gonna make that $500,000 to $700,000 a year to be able to bring our PACER ratings up. But yeah, because it's just showing like where the Regent, City Hall, and parking is, and to be honest, most people just take out their phones nowadays and look it up on Google Maps.
So,
Look nice, but $90,000 nice, I don't know.
so I would say that one of the things that we do struggle with as a downtown, because we're such a large geographic downtown for a city of our size, is we do have people multiple times ask, how do I get to that riverfront? If they're standing in front of Minnie's. And we say, just walk to the south. And they're like, they look down the street, right, turn left, turn right kind of a thing. I would offer that this is a process that the city has gone through, as Parker mentioned, for the past several years. There's been intentional thought into this. The DDA is comprised of people who live or work in the downtown, own businesses in the downtown. And there's a unanimous recommendation from the DDA to utilize the $100,000 that the city set aside in the capital improvement program for wayfinding of their money to implement this next stage or next phase.
Yeah, the DDA does do that, but the DDA also doesn't know the general overall financial situation of the city. And sometimes the DDA wants certain things and we have to say no, or have to say that money's gotta be directed elsewhere. Like I said, when the original quote came back for the signs, because I remember it was like, I want to say it was $500,000 for the sign package.
So there's a high and low
The
on
high
that
and low, and it
original one
was,
that came from.
council at the time looked at it and said that, yeah, we're not gonna be able to bite that off. Now, me personally, I think a digital sign at our entrance would be more advantageous to bringing people into our downtown than these type of signs. And would rather see our DDA funds used on that over at the circle or over at places to direct people in what's actually down here, because we have all the vehicles go right past our downtown and don't come through it. And it would be nice to kind of let people know what's going on, what events are taking place, what stores, what's down here. Try to get people to make that turn onto Hubbard or to turn up Water Street to bring them into our downtown core.
So some of those vehicular signs that you're seeing on the right side of the screen, Mayor Pro Tem hands, are placed in locations at that pull people in off the state trunk lines.
Could you review that? Is there a graphic on that about where they're placed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because I know we have it, I'm meant for everybody else.
well, the wayfinding plan, Councilmember Clark, was developed in 2024, 2023.
Yeah.
It went through the whole public process back then. City Council adopted the wayfinding plan at that moment. The DDA in the larger community has been working on seeing that implemented, over the years. Last year, we started with identifying the public parking spaces, public parking lots in the downtown, across the street from us. We were told by people who came to this city that they thought that was a private parking lot for Country House Furniture, and it was not a public parking lot. We also had, as Parker mentioned in his memo, Michigan State University Extension did a first impression tour of our downtown in
2019?
the first impression tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably 2019. And the number one complaint that they had, these were people who have never been to Allegan before. They came here to evaluate what Allegan is. They did not know how to get around our town. They did not know where things were. And so while I can also side with people just pull out their phone and use Google Maps, I would say that there are a lot of people also that are very visual when they're walking around, and they're not walking around holding their phone in their hand. And this is just another, step in trying to be a more welcoming community and, giving people, that eye-catching thing of urban design that says, hey, this is the direction you want to go, and being more friendly, so they're not trying to find the information on their own.
I could see, I also agree with the cost, the total cost, but I could see, well, I've been frustrated with the lack of signage getting into the city, just the larger signage. So I could see maybe splitting it and focusing on the downtown signs, some of the downtown signs, but the signs on the outside leading in, and have the next phase, the downtown, the smaller signs. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, I agree. I was just gonna say, could we even split this up? Do the vehicular signs and then maybe next year do because I know the kiosk is gonna help. I know that's the next thing. So maybe we could just kind of cut it up because we are seeing, DDA could help with some of the events as well, because we've been struggling with there, right? That would be part of DDA?
Well,
Yeah,
they
the
do.
DDA does at this time.
Well, I know that,
Yeah.
yeah, they do, but I mean, if we continue to not get sponsors
Sure.
and people still want these events, I'm just kind of thinking, if this is going to pretty much drain the account, right, with both of them, so.
I see, the vehicular signs aren't even out at the circle, they're already in almost, the the first street in. so
Yeah,
that
the
you're not even
roundabout
gonna
is
see it.
outside of the DDA boundaries.
Yeah.
So if what we're hearing from some council members is, I think we probably should revisit the whole signage program. And we'll put that on the next agenda. And then you can't take the DDA money and put it into signage outside on the outskirts.
Right.
You're gonna have to take money from another city program, a general fund, so it's parks. Really just parks or roads.
Yeah.
Because you've already made a determination, we're not taking it from any other funds. Everything else has to be kept whole. So you're gonna have to reallocate the, money from existing programs if you wanna continue with the signage program. And I would just come back again and say, this was a unanimous recommendation from your Downtown Development Authority.
Yep.
How hard
Yeah,
is
well,
it to extend our boundary out?
So
I
the-
don't think we,
I'm just asking for future, like if our boundary actually went out to the circle along Hubbard Street on that side of the street. What's
well, who
involved in
determined the
actually doing that?
boundary? How do we determine that?
We kind of did when we did to set up the DDA, which requires some certain steps, that's what I'm saying.
Correct,
It's a state law
because
steps.
you have to dive into the state law for creating what's called a TIF district. What a DDA is and what TIF districts are in council, you should be fairly familiar with this. But it's, it captures the tax growth from that property. So if you're gonna extend it out, then as those taxes grow outside, those taxes stay within the DDA boundary to be spent on projects within that, geographic area.
Yeah, the only reason I suggested is because, to be honest, the beginning of downtown probably goes out to the circle. It doesn't really, when we think about where that district really should lie, because it's all commercial buildings along there. It's no longer any houses are out there. Back when it was first developed, there was a house out at that end of that street. Might have been one of the reasons they didn't extend it out into that region. And if it could then be used for that entrance gateway, because that's what the circle in essence is our entrance gateway into our downtown, it makes sense that that entrance gateway would be part of the DDA and be able to have some of the things that we want to put out there, be part of the DDA, whether it's a digital sign that if we could get the MDOT to approve us to have one out there, and our property that we own next to the circle, like we used to have the banners up, would be wonderful
Is this
again.
something we can put on a future
Yeah,
agenda?
yeah, that's where I was going earlier. I'm like, it sounds like there's enough uncomfortableness amongst council with the signage that you do not want to approve this PO tonight. And so what we would do is we would revisit, and I'll email the plans to everyone. You've seen them before. We'll resend those wayfinding plans so you can be comfortable with, where all the sign locations are, all the sign types are, and come prepared at the next meeting to have an informed conversation about this.
And I want to, I appreciate all the work that went into it. It's just, it was a completely different council. And I think we're all looking at, we've had so many things go wrong this year. Little, some are little, some are huge, but the splash pad not turning on. And it just seems like we're
Everything goes up.
constantly having oh, here's another $10,000. So we're all looking at this $90,000 is a lot. I think they're beautiful. I love when I go other places and I'm trying to find something and I see the sign, I'm just thinking can we split it a little bit more and spread it out more? And then my other thing, are we gonna have signage in the roundabout? Because I think of that every time I go through it.
There is a sign planned.
Okay.
MDOT does not put signs in roundabouts.
Okay,
That is MDOT controlled right away. So we can't just show up tomorrow and throw a structure in the middle.
One thing also that I heard was that some of us are okay with the vehicular ones, especially if you look at the map, that the Water Street entrance is covered. So that's one, may not get the bridge entrance, but you get at least Water Street's covered with that. So if we had the PO, the vehicular and the pedestrian separated out, maybe like she said, we could, Councilman Walker referenced that, as if we can do one now, one later, if they can break it up and give us those prices separate, maybe that might be something that we could revisit.
Just for clarification, are we talking about one sign type versus the other, or one sign at a time?
One sign type.
Okay, got it.
Beyond these signs, though, aren't there other signs in the process or the queue to be addressed?
Yeah, there are many different types. After this, like I mentioned, I think there's downtown gateway signs, there's city limit gateway signs, large and small. So you've got like a proposed larger one on M40 coming from Holland direction, but that would be a much smaller one on A37 when you get into the city limits, notifying you that as a driver, you've entered Allegan. Then there are identifiers for our parks, updating what we have at JC Park, or adding something at Hanson Park. I can't tell you how many people don't know that that park has a name. And then identifying, updating signage at our airport, at our Department of Public Works, all kinds of different sign types. And like Joel said, what we provided in your packet was the descriptions and locations for these specific sign types. We can resend the whole larger package that Peter referenced being very expensive, and at no point in time did we propose purchasing and installing all of those signs at once. When we were working with Guide Studio, they said it is very rare for any community to go ahead and implement the total package 100% at that time. It's usually years worth of biting off one sign type at a time, so.
For the next meeting too, I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about why we're going. I'd like to see, why aren't we on the outskirts trying to let people know the bigger signs? And why are we starting in the center, working our way out?
Yeah.
If that's what's happening.
Yeah, just
I
real
don't know
quickly, I
why.
mean, I can just say that like the parking lot identifiers were some of the more affordable signs, and they get more expensive as we go, was one of the lines of thinking. The other is, if you're directing everybody to your downtown, for example, once they get here, then they don't have the signage to say, here's where this is, here's where you can park. So we thought starting small and going bigger was the way to go. But yeah, that's a good point.
All right, so the entire sign presentation or packet will be emailed to all the council members, so we all
Yes.
can see it. Okay.
Of course.
All right. Well, we will move on to 13E.5, which is a request to approve PO 27-0862 to MetroClick in the amount of $20,722 to manufacture and install 2 electronic kiosks in downtown Allegan.
Yeah, so just to kind of fill you in as to where this conversation was coming from, it has been talked about again for several years, specifically by our DDA, but also at our downtown lowdown meetings there's an invite list of over 100 folks, and we usually average around 24 people, sometimes more, sometimes less, that represent individual businesses in the downtown. And there's been a real desire for directional signage to individual businesses. Like I mentioned on the previous slide, we were not going to include private businesses that may open or may close on more permanent signage. Years ago, prior to the first phase of the streetscape project, you may recall there were handcrafted directional arrows that were managed, I guess I could say, by the Allegan Area Arts Council, and an individual business could purchase a sign, have it made to their specs and installed on the post that were in the potted planters in the downtown. There were also a handful of, I'll call them boxes, that were located throughout the town that kind of just had a map of the DDA boundaries and pointed out things like, you are here, and here's City Hall, here's the Regent Theater, here's our walking boardwalk loop, and the Riverfront, et cetera. All of those things were removed during the streetscape project. A, we were doing the project, and B, they had all become quite dated. City Hall had relocated. There were new public restrooms available. Everything was looking pretty worn and faded. So the conversations have switched to a more modern option, a digital sign that could be updated to have almost like, think of a directory at a mall that would have a map of the downtown and show where all these businesses are at. Could cycle through and promote things like Rolling on the River and Monday Night Fork in the Road, et cetera. So we talked to several different firms, didn't really like any of them because they were all extremely expensive, much more expensive than what you see here. MetroClick checked the boxes that we were hoping to check and were the most cost-effective option. So when we presented that to the DDA subcommittee and the DDA as a whole, they elected to not go with just one, but two electronic kiosks, and that's what you see before you, and this would require a budget adjustment. Not now, yes. Thank you.
And they're like completely waterproof and everything. I'm assuming they'd be outside, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yep.
And then, I mean, could we then sell advertising? Like, hey, if you want to have your.
I'm glad you brought it up, because I didn't want to get into it, but we did talk about the DDA. That concept came up quite a bit with selling some sort of ad space for DDA businesses.
Would it be similar to what we did in the theater for the purchase of the projector that was used for the ads? I think Chamber of Commerce paid for that, and then they got like free ads for a little bit, and then we started charging.
No, so we would just sell advertisement on the
Sell from the
screen.
start.
We'll just cycle through like it does at the theater right now before the shows. Or what we did when we advertised in the Review magazine, where we sold the bottom quarter, the
Nice.
bottom panels.
That was kind of my question as well, so you're right up in the same alley as to maintain and to pay for staff of updating and doing things on it and pay for the electric. I didn't see much cost in there for the electric connection. Is that a separate, not included in here cost that we haven't addressed to actually run the electric to these?
Yeah, they have the option, this company does, for they can install it or it can be installed in-house. We believe we have the staff with the capabilities to install it in-house, so that cost was not included in this.
And then my other concern was, we have snow and we plow sidewalks. And having these in the middle of the sidewalk, I'm a little concerned we're gonna end up just whacking them. I also saw that they offered ones that were wall mounted. Is there any walls that we could identify that would be a place to, in essence, rent a space from a business to put them on and not be concerned about the salt, the snow, the plows, going and whacking these things? Because that's the first thing I thought is like, yeah, I can just see one of our guys out plowing the sidewalk, backing into it, whacking it with the plow. And if it was up on a side of a building, it's a lot less likely to that actually happen, and it gets a little more protection from the salt spray, from the liquid spray, because I know it likes to make the bottom of my door look like a nice orange color where they were using the spray. So.
Yeah, we had that exact question. They're a New York City-based company, and we asked for examples of places that had similar weather to us, and they were able to provide a list of those that they had both wall-mounted and ground-mounted models in areas of the Midwest that get similar weather.
I was just thinking we could technically put one on City Hall where our sign is currently for the city meetings, and it would take care of two things with one stone. To have a directional sign that replaces that monitor and just put it on the outside, that it would actually be a touch screen out by the door or out near the door. And then electricity installation's not hard, all that's right in the building.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't really like the idea of the ones that are street mounted, just because I know we plow and we have snow.
I think they're cool. I think we've got to worry about getting people into the city, and I just don't think now's the time.
Any other comments?
My only question is, you mentioned them like a mall. Those are interactive? Are these going to be interactive like you?
These have the capability to be, but if we don't have any interactive features on them,
You can
folks wouldn't
disable
be able to
it.
do anything, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the functionality of
Yeah.
it.
So, yeah, I thought they were gonna be interactive, like, so if I'm downtown taking in a show and I'm like, I'm hungry, hit restaurants, and it would give me a list. It's not that, it would just have like a map, or it is.
Has the capability
Okay.
to, yep.
But the ones that we're approving, would they?
Yes, they
Okay,
could.
okay.
Yep.
That's Durham sign? I actually seen that sign a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I was in that town.
that's fun.
Did you use it?
I tried to. Other thing is the cleanliness of them is always an issue.
All right, can I get a motion to approve PO 27-0862?
I'll make a motion to approve PO 27-0862.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any other comments? Seeing none?
I think if there's no answer to how it would be addressed in the wintertime,
Right.
then that gives me pause.
Noted. All right.
So do we, I was gonna say, we're gonna vote on it, and then but we could just potentially, never mind, we have to vote first, because there's our,
All right. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Aye. All right, motion fails. 13E6, request to approve the renewal of various insurance policies for the City of Allegan for FY '27 and authorize the payment of related invoices totaling $224,585. Should we take?
Take a recess, please.
I'll motion for a
Yes,
recess.
Thank you.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We will recess at 7:40 and back by 7:45. 45. Can I have a motion? Do I need a motion? Because we took a motion to take a recess. Do we
You
need a
don't need one
motion?
because you had the time at 7:45. We called
Okay,
it
at
back to order.
7:45, we will call the meeting back to order. We are on 13E6, which is a request to approve the renewal of various insurance policies for the City of Allegan for FY '27 and authorize the payment of related invoices totaling $224,585.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an annual request from the city. We have to have insurance for all of our properties, as well as all of our liabilities that may be out there. This covers professional liability, so protects city council for decisions you may make, as well as for staff. This year, the total premium is $224,585, and it is a 5.9% increase from last year. One of the reasons for the increase, besides insurance always goes up, is upon reviewing all of our properties, we noticed that our terminals out at the airport were not properly valued. We just recently reconstructed a couple, we did a 6-unit hangar out there last year. So we took that per price per hangar and said, if these go goodbye and we have to construct new hangars, they would go up. You know, the cost to replace them would go up. So that was the main thing that we caught there. Also, I just want to be very clear with the council that in years past, Phil Siegler, who owned formerly Bart's Rummery downtown, was our insurance consultant. So we always had a separate contract with him, around $4,000 to provide those services. However, Bart's Rummery has sold their business to BHS Insurance, which happens to be the primary insurance carrier that we work with. So we will no longer have that insurance consultant role, but it's just a service that BHS provides. Last year, you'll recall, we did go out for bids from other insurance companies. We asked MML to submit a bid. However, their bid was not competitive to what BHS was last year, so we're sticking with BHS this year. Any questions for staff?
I make a motion that we approve the renewal of the various insurance policies.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any other comments, questions council has? No? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 13E7 is a request to authorize the city manager to decide whether the front window at City Hall should be closed on July 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Thank you, Mayor. As I mentioned earlier, when City Council chose to switch from BSNA.net to BSNA SAS, which is software as a service, we are going to go through a conversion process and intense staff training on July 8th, 9th, and 10th. With that, we will not have access to our computer systems for our general business, tax, utility billing, payroll, et cetera. Most City Hall staff will be in that training. Parker and I will be able to man the front window for people that might want to walk in and have questions. But there's also times when Parker and I get called out into the community and we have to go check on things or, have meetings outside City Hall. So we're asking for the flexibility, or I'm asking for that flexibility on July 8th, 9th, and 10th. That's a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, to be able to just to draw the shades and say front office closed, we'll return at 2 o'clock if we aren't going to be available, at that time.
Can we let residents know that that's a
Yes,
possibility?
yes. We'll be doing a press release coming at the end of this month, so probably later this week, to let residents know that on July 8th, 9th, and 10th, we will not have access to, the city computer software system.
Can you do the text also?
Yes,
The message?
we'll do the text. We'll do all two of our social media and our outreaches.
Update our Google hours on the map and just put us as closed on those days if we're not gonna have access to it. That way, if somebody does look us up on
Parker's
Google
shaking
Maps,
his head yes, so I assume he knows how to update hours on Google.
yeah, just for temporary, you can set them
Yep.
for those days that we're closed.
We'll take care of that.
All right, can I get a motion to authorize city manager?
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, Agenda item 15 is the second public comment of the evening. If you have a public comment, you're dying to say something, those who are left, please approach the podium and state your name and address. All right, I am just seeing smiling faces, so I'm going to move on to agenda item 16 is communications from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I got three things. First, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right to the public comments regarding fences or other permits, which, Mr. Vanderhill, brought up during the public comment period. His issue has been going on for well over a year, I believe, and it's been a headache for city staff. PCI, we're a small city, so we can't provide all the inspection services. We don't have mechanical, electrical, construction, plumbing, et cetera. However, city staff can provide permits for fences. We can provide permits for what I consider land use related projects, such as flat work, small sheds under 200 square feet that don't require a building permit, but you got to make sure it's placed appropriately per the zoning ordinance, and signs, as long as the signs don't have electric going to them. As with, it's one of the reasons why we're switching to the new BSNA SAS program. With that, we are going to get a module that's focused on permits. We're setting up for those 3 permits, and we're going to slowly start taking over some of those services from PCI. Probably the biggest headache is PCI is not in town, so they're not driving around every day seeing fences go up or sheds go up or just work happening. PCI is in Door, Michigan, so when we do have a complaint, they have to schedule their 2 or 3 days out to come down from Door, Michigan to do the investigation. Unless it's life, safety, health issues, then they respond quickly. But if it's a fence thing, that's not really a life or, health or safety thing for them, so they're not down here right away. So we're hoping to make that a much more smooth process moving forward. It's going to take a while for us to get our sea legs with that and get up and running, but that's going to be part of that process. So we hope to bring that in-house. I already have staff, and by staff I mean Ryan Berza, expanding his capabilities, and he's starting to send out fence permits this week. We just happen to have 2 complaints that got called into us today regarding fences, not this one. So we're going to try to wrap our arms around it and do a better job with that. The second thing is I emailed you this afternoon. We did receive a request from Dan and Aaron Dewey to purchase 104 Ida Street for $1. It's been on the market for over 300 days. There's a misnomer. The city does not pay taxes on that property, but we do maintain that property. So we mow it and maintain it. I need to know from council if you want me to schedule a public hearing on that sale. As you will recall, when we sell public property, it is 3 weeks. It has to be published in the local newspaper for the public hearing, and then we approve the sale at that public hearing. So there is a process for us to get that out. Since it came this afternoon, I feel compelled to share it with you this evening so we can get in front of this. If not, your next meeting's not till July 13th, which will then push this public hearing into August. How does council feel about this? Dan and Aaron Dewey, as I mentioned in the email, they own the property just to the west of 104 Ida. They use that property for storage, I believe. It's a old commercial building. 104 Ida was a single-family home back in the day. It was condemned. The city got it in tax foreclosure and tore it down and has held it since then.
And this is the first inquiry
This
on
is the
that property?
first inquiry that we've ever had on this property.
Do you know what they are they looking to just combine
I
the
think that,
properties
from
into
the
one?
way Ben Otis, who's the city's realtor, explained it to me, they would just absorb it and just maintain it. So we will not have to pay to mow it anymore.
But are
and
they
it-
looking to you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
to-
maybe, I don't know if they plan on combining the two properties.
Okay.
Well, either way, if they do, it's still a commercial property, so they get taxed at the higher rates. Because they're not homesteaded. Can't be homesteaded on a commercial property.
So that 18 mills would go to the state education tax,
Yeah.
not the city. So
I'm just
it
saying.
is higher, but it's not city higher.
It's not city hire. I know we
Yeah.
don't get any more for it, but I haven't seen much interest in it. It's a small lot, difficult to build on, not the greatest lot in the world, kind of on a main street on 837, main drag, not a very big lot. I'd be okay with selling it. If you want to counter, we could counter and say, buy it for 1,000. I don't care. But at least gets it back on our tax rolls. And if there's no real interest in anybody buying it, at some point you gotta, the whole point of this was to get these off of our maintenance schedule and to get them back on the tax rolls. And we did it through a realtor to try to minimize influence. And we said if people wanted to offer, neighbors wanted to offer, we would entertain them. So I'm willing to entertain it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's not gonna hurt to have a first reading, and see if people have comments, and then we can go from there.
But we have it listed, what do we have it listed at, price-wise?
I believe I sent that in the
It was like 6,000
email.
and something dollars, I thought.
Yeah, it's not very.
The-
Email?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I sent the Zillow link. If I didn't, I apologize. But
If the property was sold for $1, would that cover any realtor costs?
So the realtor costs, the way we have that set up, I didn't send the Zillow link. Yeah, it's listed for 25,000. It's been on the market for 300 days and no one's sniffed at it
But
since
what
then.
was in the email?
The email was the true cash value is estimated at 6,484 is what the true cash value is on that parcel. That's just calculated by what we value the land and times it by the acreage or the minimal acreage
Yeah,
that's there.
I mean, the community in the past has not been supportive of sales of $1.
All right.
I agree, I think that we should at least see if they're willing to pay the
The
market,
6,000 and-
or yeah,
yeah.
the 6,000.
Yeah, I think 25,000's insane. but-
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily insane. I've seen some properties, but for that particular lot, I would say, yeah, that's asking a lot for somebody. And personally, I think, going by the lot lines, it looks, do they own the lot behind it as well?
Don't,
Who owns that? Because it looks like they surround it. Didn't know.
I guess my question is, if we're asking a price, then are we setting it at $1?
We can always have a first reading. But the community is not supportive of, I could do the 6,000 and
We can counter.
I would rather counter and try that first.
so I hear you're okay selling the property, so you'd have to make a motion to schedule a public hearing and then direct the city staff to negotiate a sales price that's more aligned with the true cash value of 6,800. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's what you're hearing from me.
Yep, I'm there.
So somebody can make a motion. And that can be done.
I make a motion to have city staff work on setting up the public hearing for the first reading and to come up with a negotiable price.
And just to be clear, this isn't an ordinance, so there's not a first reading. It's just a public hearing.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Joel, did you have anything else?
Last thing is tomorrow morning will be our Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting. We will be reviewing a Act 381 plan, which is a TIF reimbursement plan for the development at the Girl Scout property. So that project is moving forward. And that is all.
All right. All right, agenda item number 17 is roundtable discussion from council and mayor. And Charles, I'll start with you.
I just want to thank Chief Jay for all the work you guys do in keeping the city safe. I want to thank city staff for all making everything so easy to understand today. And I also want to just invite everyone to, if you have any ideas on anything, particularly revenue, because you know where the city needs to come up with ways to make money that's not millage. And if you want that, if you have any ideas on that matter, please email us, because we're happy to have those conversations.
Patrick?
I'm all set. Mayor, thank you.
Will?
Joel, anything in Parker, anything new on the Cutler Street fence issue?
We gave the property owner an extension. They have a health issue they're dealing with right now.
Okay.
Melanie?
I just have that our chat with council for July will be July 24th from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. in the Trowbridge Plaza. And that's it.
Okay. And Peter?
Nothing for me.
Okay. From me, I would like to request a special meeting. We have 5 Mondays in August. So that 5th Monday, which I think is August 31st, I'd like to have a special meeting so that we can tour various city facilities and projects within our city limits and have that special meeting start at 5:15 PM. Is that doable?
Can we do 5:30? Because I come from Pawpaw. I can try to get out early, but
5:30 works for me.
That's August
31st. And besides that, I have nothing else, so at 8:02, I will adjourn.